Good morning, boys and girls. That was some great worshiping. Are you ready to hear a story from the Bible? I can't hear you. Are you ready to hear a story from the Bible? Yeah, that's better. I love reading stories from the Bible because I know that they are all true. God put stories in the Bible so I know what He's like. I love God.
Seriously?
Well, today's story is it's about stories.
Huh?
But not just stories. Nope. It's also about the best storyteller ever who told those stories.
Unbelievable!
And do you know what the coolest part is? The storyteller wasn't much older than you.
Woohoo!
That's right. Our Bible story today is about a young boy who was only 12 years old.
Oh.
Do you want to know what his name was? Jesus! Before we get into our story, raise your hand if you know what this is. If you said Bible, you were correct. Let's all say that together. Bible! Good job. The Bible has all of God's stories in it.
All right! Yo, yo, woo, woo, woo.
Here's another one. Raise your hand if you can tell me what this is. Those are really good guesses. This is a pretend scroll. Can y'all say that with me? Scroll. Very good. Yeah, a real scroll had all of God's stories in it.
Interesting.
Scrolls are what God's people would read in the temple when Jesus was a boy.
Our story begins with Jesus and his parents traveling a long way to go to a festival. They did it once a year. Now, this festival wasn't like a carnival or a fair. It was a special time for all the people who loved God to come together and worship Him. One way they worshiped was listening to someone read God's Word from a scroll. People would listen and listen to all of God's stories. Now, after Jesus and his parents worshiped God at the festival, it was time to go back home. They packed up all their stuff and began their long trip. Jesus' parents traveled home with a lot of people. And I mean a lot of people. They thought Jesus was walking with some family or friends. When they stopped that night to rest, they couldn't find Jesus anywhere. They finally decided to go back to the festival and look for him. Guess what they found when they got there?
Huh?
Jesus was sitting in the temple with all the Bible teachers talking and asking questions about God's stories. Jesus was helping the people know what God is like.
So, why did Jesus stay at the temple and tell these stories? Jesus wants me to know what God is like. The Bible is full of stories that Jesus told. This month, we will be hearing about some of those stories. And whenever you're asked, why did Jesus tell these stories? I want you to say, Jesus wants me to know what God is like. Got it? Let's practice. So, why did Jesus tell these stories? Jesus wants me to know what God is like. One more time. Why did Jesus tell these stories? Jesus Jesus wants me to know what God is like. Good job! All right, boys and girls, that's all there is for today's edition of Elmer's Theater. I'm going to turn it over to your teachers now so they can pray and dismiss you back to your classes. See you later!